The ball python breeding world is incredibly trend focused, but as a new breeder, how do you know if something is a passing fad or if it is the start of a brand new innovation that is going to change the entire industry in the years to come? So for this week's video, we're going to dive into that question, and we're going to give a couple different recent trends, and we're going to talk about whether or not I think that they are a passing fad or if they are a revolution. In addition, we're going to be heading up to Charlotte, North Carolina in order to go to the All-American Reptile and Plant Expo, and we are going to be asking some of the vendors there their opinions on some of the trends in the ball python world right now in the spring of 2025. Anyways, my name's Steven with Leviathan, and let's get to it. So we are heading up to Charlotte, North Carolina in order to go to the All-American Reptile and Plant Expo that is being put on by Troy Schroeder of Best Dressed Balls and Nick Sloan of Sloan Morphs. And we are super excited. This is the second time I'm pretty sure they did it, because we were at the first one and we've only been there once, so I can't wait to see what the show's like this time now that it's not a brand new show and it has a little bit of presence in this area. In my opinion, I think that the most impactful change that has happened to the entire ball python breeding industry in the last several years is the introduction of genetic testing. And with companies like Rare Genetics Incorporated, who does the shed testing on Morph Market and on Clutch, they have completely changed the way that we personally have gone about our breeding strategy, and it has saved so many people so much time, money, and it has allowed them to make insane progress on the projects that they are working. But is genetic testing a fad, or is this the new normal? And in my opinion, I think that if you are going to be breeding at the high-end side of the ball python breeding world, you have to be genetically testing from this point going forward. And the reason why is that it is such a powerful tool that it can shave off easily 50% of the time that it would have taken to work a specific project. So previous to genetic testing, you would have to get a sunset, a hypo, and a puzzle, and through a bunch of years breeding, you would eventually make triple hets after multiple different generations. But based off of some notes that I made prior to this video, it could take anywhere from 8 to 12 years to hit the sunset hypo puzzle if you started from the sunset, a hypo, and a puzzle, and you didn't have genetic testing in order to accelerate your progress in the project. But by using Rare Genetics Incorporated, you can get a male like our pastel hypo double het sunset puzzle boy that is going to a ton of different females this season, and rather than having to have a sunset, a hypo, and a puzzle that through multiple different generations you try to make triple hets, you could take a male like this boy and pair him just to a sunset and then genetically test all of the babies for puzzle, and you can be immediately making triple hets in the very first generation, as well as potentially making visual sunsets that are double het for hypo and puzzle. And this drastically accelerates the progress. And if you are not doing your pairings like this at the high end side, everybody who is really serious about breeding ball pythons has adjusted their breeding strategies to use shed testing like this. So that means if you are not leveraging this tool, you are going to get further and further away from the leading edge of a project, and eventually you won't even be able to keep up. So in my opinion, it's stuff like this that makes me think that shed testing isn't just a passing fad that's going to go away, and instead it has completely disrupted and changed the entire ball python breeding hobby.
Give my life color, you give my life color, color. You give my life color, give my life color.
So we are here at the Charlotte All-American Reptile and Plant Expo, and we are going to be going around asking vendors two different questions. The first one is, what is their favorite animal that they brought to the show? And the second question is, what is a trend that they are seeing right now in the ball python hobby during the spring of 2025? Tying into genetic testing is our second fad or revolution for the ball python breeding world, and that is the focus on multi-recessive breeding projects. So the reason why so many different breeders are trying to go for these triple, quad, sometimes even penta-recessive breeding projects is that the odds to hit the desired outcome are really, really small. So this inadvertently makes it a really difficult task to try to accomplish, which means that you're going to have lower supply and it's going to be a more stable project in the long run. But I do think that there is a tiny bit of a fad going on despite the difficulty. And that is that it is not uncommon for people to get into the ball python world and understand that multi-recessive projects are 1000% the way to go in order to make sure that you are keeping up with the rest of the industry. But the problem that I think that some people have in the fad is that rather than trying to leverage different genes that work really well together in order to get the maximum impact from each, there are some people who are just trying to pack as many different recessive genes as possible, regardless of what they do together, in order to say that they have a triple, quad, or even penta-recessive project that they're working on. And in my opinion, I think that this, just gene stacking recessives for the sake that they're recessives, is a fad and that it is going to fade. But the fact that there are some amazing triple recessives, sometimes even quad recessives, and maybe even penta-recessive animals, I think that that is going to result in a situation where not every single multi-recessive project does absolutely amazing and is going to go to the moon in terms of value, but that there are going to be a handful of really, really popular in-demand combos, and it's those combos that are going to essentially attract most of the attention and most of the demand from the market. So we did a video last week that was talking about how we use a framework to try to build out these multi-recessive projects. So if you haven't checked out that video, we're gonna link it down below and we're gonna put it as the end card of this one. But we're not diving into that for this video. Instead, I think that while multi-recessive projects are here to stay, stacking multi-recessives for the sake of just getting another recessive into the combo is a fad, and it's going to fade in favor of trying to find the best combos that make the best looking animals, period.
Hey, I'm Corey from CD Constrictors. Just here at the All-American Plants and Reptile Expo in Charlotte. It's a pretty good show. Yesterday was pretty good. Got some chameleons that we brought here. Had a lot of people interested in taking a look at those. But I do have a favorite animal that I'd like to point out. This is all my stuff, but I'd like to point out something over here that my buddy Matt has. And these things are super nice. These Hurricane DG and Hurricane Chocolate. I've been admiring these kind of all weekend, and just look at that. Chocolate kind of reduced that a little bit, but the Hurricane is still definitely showing through there, and especially with this nice one over here, the Orange Dream and the Hypo cleaning that up. It's still, the Hurricane really shows through there, super nice. So I'm kind of I've been looking at the same stuff in my racks all year. It's nice to come to a show and see some different stuff that other people have. So that's kind of pointing out some of the favorite stuff that I saw.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think current trends in this market, 25 here we're talking, I think what I'm noticing, a lot of people with the economy maybe a little bit reluctant on pulling the trigger on some animals. I know I feel that way myself a little bit. Might see an animal where in the past I had no qualms about, diving into the pockets and spending some money. I think people are maybe trying to make some stuff on their own, using shed testing to their advantage, trying to see if they've hit something that's maybe close to what they actually want to purchase or what they're looking, that they want to buy. Just one thing I'm kind of doing myself, and I think several other people are kind of working the same angle on the market right now.
Keep me closer, don't need closure.
Switching directions from the animals, I think that a hot topic recently has been Morph Market shipping. Quick disclaimer, we are in no way affiliated with Morph Market, we're not sponsored by them, we're not doing anything like that. But in my opinion, I think that the way that Morph Market has come into the shipping space has put a lot of pressure on other shippers in order to have more competitive prices. And this alone has completely disrupted the industry. And I think that it's going to be really difficult for anybody in the reptile hobby if they're going to have a shipping company to go back to the prices that were the norm after COVID, or maybe in the years right before COVID. Because we all know, everybody who's been in the hobby since then, that shipping prices went up and up and up. But with Morph Market coming into the space and having shipping prices as low as $20 and $30, it has completely changed the way that customers expect breeders to charge for shipping, to the point now where for a lot of people it's not acceptable anymore to pass an $80 or $100 shipping charge on to the customer when the customer knows that that person, that breeder, could buy a label from Morph Market for $20 or $30. So in my opinion, I think that Morph Market has done an amazing thing for the entire industry by giving so many more people access to much cheaper shipping, and I think that the effects of this is going to remain period across every single shipping company in the entire industry.
I'm Billy with Rice Reptiles, and this is my favorite snake I brought to the show. All right, guys, so this is a spot nose, yellow belly leopard, Mario, desert ghost. It's also black pastel, Mario, desert ghost, het hypo. Absolutely love this. This was I have a black pastel, spot nose, yellow belly, leopard, desert ghost, het hypo to a Mario desert ghost.
Oh yeah, it's super clean. I love that perfect contrast on it.
It's the Mario genes. What I like about this so much is the fact that it brings in with these dark contrasts, this creamy, just rich look. And we've made it with just black pastel in it, and it's just another whole color palette. It's really cool the way it brings in like this creamy look. It's beautiful.
Yeah, they look awesome.
The head stamps on them are very cool.
Oh yeah, it looks so good, so good. So what's your plans for it? Like, what's your next step on this project?
So we've got it into our VPI Xanthic Desert Ghost Clown project, which I'm very excited about. That's one of my favorite projects out there, and I think most people, this is really one of their favorite projects. So we're very excited about that. And then we've got it into some of our other stuff, like our just going into regular clowns and desert ghost clowns. And then also we've got this to where, like, I would put this into my puzzle projects with this girl right here, because I have hypo puzzle projects. So to get the Mario gene into that with some spot nose and stuff would be pretty cool. So the trend for us has been uptick in international sales, which I think is very important, and it speaks to kind of more of a global reach for our company, and that's something we're very proud of. So lately we've had a lot of customers buying from us from overseas. Like this weekend we have our snakes on the table with Canova at the Tokyo show, and so we've got 2 vendors there repping us, which is very cool. And then also we've had a lot to Thailand and tons of this type of hypo desert ghost stuff. People in Europe really love this stuff. We've sent tons of this kind of stuff to Europe. So that's been a trend, is an uptick with a little bit of a down economy and stuff being very expensive and tough for people to live really well here. We've had a very good uptick of international sales.
That's awesome. So do you have any advice for somebody who's like a newer breeder and wants to get into the international market? Like, where should they start?
They just start with really with their animals, showing them on social media, and then reach out and follow some people that you see that are overseas people. Like, reach out and follow them and show them the animals that you have, and that'll help you establish contacts overseas. The last fad or revolution that I want to talk about are reptile auctions. And while reptile auctions have been around for years and years and years, both before and now after COVID, I do think that the hobby as a whole, when it comes to sellers, tends to not want to use auctions. Instead, auctions are used when traditional sales avenues, whether this is shows or if it's Morph Market or other online sales platforms, aren't moving the animals that they want to move fast enough. So therefore, the
sellers are willing to take a hit on the price in order to get those animals out and into their homes that they're going to be spending the rest of their lives in. So when it comes to this situation, I think that auctions are, in a way, kind of a fad, but it's a necessary fad. So as long as the market is difficult to move some of the animals, there's always going to be a need for auctions in this space. But I can see as the market starts to heat up and get more and more demand from buyers, I can see auctions kind of going, maybe not completely away, but significantly less than what they are right now in the hobby. But again, there's nothing wrong with using an auction in order to sell an animal, especially if you need to get something moved in order to free up space, or if the price that you are getting for that animal isn't the most important factor that you are considering when you are putting up for sale. But if it is something that you're really proud of, or if it's a project that you are really passionate about, in my opinion, I think that you shouldn't be putting those animals up for auction, even if it is going to take longer to sell, because when I see people put animals up on auction, to me it's saying that the seller doesn't believe that that animal is going to sell for as much money as they thought that they could get, so they're just trying to get it up on an auction and get it out for whatever they can get. But there are some unique exceptions to this, such as you don't know what an animal's worth. But regardless, I think that auctions are necessary, but if the market does heat up, I can definitely see auctions fading away over time.
All right, Shane Kelly, Small Town Exotics. My favorite snake that I brought to the show is a shrapnel leopard clown. I'm gonna take this out. So this is a leopard clown plus shrapnel. You'll notice how much shrapnel affected the pattern. A leopard clown is usually a strong black back.
Would you want to bring it down just a little bit? There we go. Perfect.
And a leopard clown is usually a strong black back, very little pattern, but the shrapnel really broke it up, jumbled it up. So I have high hopes for the shrapnel project. If you're interested in shrapnel, hit me up or Corey DeLong at CD Constrictors. I have a whole row of shrapnel here. So a trend I'm seeing right now in the ball python industry, especially at shows, is a little bit of diversification. You'll notice I'm low on hognose, but I usually have half a table of hognose along with my ball pythons. You'll notice I've incorporated merch, other devices, and zoom zooms and wham whams. So it pays to have a little bit of diversification to help pay the way.
To close out, I think that there are a lot of things in the reptile world that might start as a fad or a trend, but if they are really valuable to the community, they are going to be here to stay. And one last huge shout out to Nick and Troy of the All-American Reptile and Plant Expo, because they put on a great show and we cannot wait for the next one. But for everybody else, we really appreciate you watching the videos, and make sure to subscribe to the channel because next Wednesday we're going to be back here again with another ball python video. We'll see you then.